I started writing this story on the side in my free time. And it was inspired by shows I liked as a kid, like The Twilight Zone, movies like Silent Running, Omega Man, La Jetée, these kind of 70s character-driven science fiction films with small cast of characters, but big ideas. And I came up with the story about this drone repairman in the future, one of the last people on Earth, who's doing a job every day, and one day spacecraft crashes in his sector, and inside he finds a woman who he doesn't know but looks familiar to him, and her arrival kind of turns his world upside down in really exciting ways. I had seen some images of Iceland, and the landscape looks like really no other place on Earth. It's a volcanic island, black sands, no trees, just moss growing on the hillsides. There's a beauty in the desolation there, and that seemed to kind of fit the aesthetic I wanted for Oblivion. So that was something I had in mind very early on. And then kind of against that rugged landscape, I wanted to bring a very clean, forward-looking technology. I thought that juxtaposition of technology against that landscape would create something visually that felt unique and fitting for an original story. The kind of two words that I had from the very beginning of the project was a beautiful desolation. Blue skies, black sand, a very kind of monochromatic palette. Almost primordial Earth. It feels like Earth the way it maybe looked 1,000,000 years ago, even though it's in the future. That juxtaposition of elements that we know from our world set against this landscape. Iconic locations like the Empire State Building, Giant Stadium, the New York Public Library, discovered under the surface of this very natural landscape. That sense of discovery, finding elements of our world embedded in this landscape, to me was something that I thought was very intriguing. Jack is he's a blue-collar worker in the year 2077. He is one of the last humans left on Earth after a massive war that has left Earth basically uninhabitable. So mankind is looking to the future, looking to the next step, which is moving on to Titan, which is a moon of Saturn that is close enough that it has potential for us kind of moving on there. Jack's been left behind to help in the resource gathering operation, which is to collect the heavy hydrogen or deuterium that exists in seawater, and from that we can create pure, clean fusion energy. The whole philosophy for the movie was to try to build everything we could, to try to shoot everything in camera, to shoot as much on location as we could. So we decided that it made sense to build a full-scale version of the bubble ship, which was a tremendous thrill for me. So we went up with Wild Factory, which is a company here in the Los Angeles area that I worked with on Tron. They built the light cycles. They do exceptional high-quality work, and we spent 6 months. We had designed the bubble ship down to every bolt, and these guys were able to take those kind of plans and build this spectacular vehicle for the movie, which we took with us everywhere around Iceland. So it was a real thrill to have that with us on set. Yeah, in the library sequence, we see him rappelling into the library, which is, the Rose Reading Room of the New York Public Library is under the surface. So we get to see him rappel into that space, a 60-foot drop. He gets involved with a little bit of trouble down there, so he has some really cool stunts. He has to jump a couple of gaps. you know, he's up for anything. He really can do all those stunts on his own. Has no fear of heights. When we went to Earl's Peak and shot on the top of a mountain, you know, there's an 800-foot kind of sheer drop. Tom had no problem sitting on the edge there. We got some beautiful scenes of him just sitting on the edge of a mountain. That kind of stuff, capturing it in camera rather than doing it on a soundstage was kind of, it's what it's all about, you know, making movies like this. Morgan Freeman was, I mean, that was the dream casting for the role of Beach. It was something Tom and I talked about very early on, you know, man, wouldn't it be great if we got Morgan Freeman to play this role? And we were very lucky in the end to be able to get him. And I think Morgan, you know, it was interesting, Morgan has always been looking for an opportunity to work with Tom. So for this movie to be the opportunity to watch two icons finally come together, for me, was a real thrill. And it's a thrill for me and for both of them. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. This is an original story done on a big scale. So I'm really proud of that, and you know, owe a lot to Universal Pictures to take a risk on an original story. That's not an easy thing to do these days. But I would say it is a science fiction movie, but I would say it's not what you'd expect. There's the focus on the story is on character, it's on humanity. It asks fundamental questions about what it is that makes us who we are. It's a very hopeful movie that talks about the endurance of the human spirit. And it also has some really good twists and turns, things hopefully you don't see coming. It's hard to put this movie in a box. I think it spans a couple different genres, but that's what, to me, makes it exciting.